All right, good afternoon, my horror hounds. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Serial Killers Movie Podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Glenn Spillman. With me is Carl O'Leary.
How's it going?
Carl O'Leary is one of the catalysts that planted the seed to do the series in the first place. So I could fully thank Carl. And if you really want to think about it, it's the reason, Carl is the reason this whole series even exists. Because without his little questioning, I would have just sat on a serial killer, or excuse me, thanks for the ride. It's been a few years since I wrote it, and I would have just done it whenever I felt like doing it. But now we've done this series, and we've created not only a full season of scripts. The very first episode is now an hour and a half. It's a full feature film.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
And it was just 2 weeks ago. It was 39 pages. But we wanted to add more meat to it, more development of the characters, and if this is your first episode, at least 85% of this series is based on true life events. And pretty much 100% of the characters, at least in the first film for sure, is 100% real people, based off of real people. Either that I know, that I've met, that I ran into in the world. But the funny thing is, and Carl kind of experienced this yesterday when we interviewed Kayla LaQuela. We were talking about the character's backstory, and then Kayla was like, well, I've got a real life story for you. And she told us the story, and we were like, holy shit. So she's, parallels the character. And then when I was talking to Carl about Lamont, Carl's like, I've done that. I've experienced that. So he parallels Lamont. And every actor that I've talked to about their character, some way, somewhere, somehow, some a little, some a lot, can relate to the character. And then, and if you want to follow us on Facebook, it's Serial Killers Movie Group. Come and join us. But the title of this podcast is What is Horror? And I am doing this podcast, and some of you people might be like, horror's a no-brainer. It's this and this. Well, I'm going to dive deeper than just this and this. And because one of the reasons, and the main reason why I'm doing this is because, and I've talked to Carl, every single time someone turns down this certain character, I text them, or in conversation, I'm like, dude, another one bites the dust, and another one refuses to do it. And these are people that said they love horror, and they love gore. But when I give them that scene, they're like, I can't do it. Yeah. And, so I'm thinking either you don't really love horror like you say, or you just don't know what horror is. Because some people think, I got a little box and this is what my horror is. And maybe everybody has their own definition of what horror
maybe
is.
Goosebumps or something.
Yeah, Goosebumps or Stranger Things. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying, well, you compare us to those and you'd be like, well, holy shit. These guys, meaning us, are way out in left field. But we're not. We're reality, and we're hitting you with reality. And I don't think people like reality when it comes to horror. So within this podcast, excuse me, I'm going to give you the definition of horror, but we're going to jump all the way back to when and what is considered to be the very first horror movie ever made. And I don't think you've seen the notes yet, Carl, but without looking, in your mind, and I know I'm not asking you to pull out a history exam or anything like that.
Okay.
But in your mind, in your best guesstimation, when do you think the first horror movie came out, and what do you think it was?
The very first horror film?
Very first horror film.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, I don't know. I don't know if he was in the horror film. But
Well, we're talking slasher horror. Or are we talking
any horror,
classic horror?
anyone, any movie that people
1920s.
1920s, good. That's a very good guess.
Okay.
You are correct to a point.
Oh, okay. All
But
right.
yes, because when you think of the 1920s, we're going to talk about it here in a minute. A
Okay.
very, 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 very famous horror movie was made, and it was remade just last
Was it
year.
Nosferatu?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we're going
I hear about that stuff
several
all the time.
years, almost 30 years prior to that. The very first horror movie ever made is generally considered, it's in French, and I don't want to butcher French, but I'll tell you what the English
Huh.
is translated to. It's called The House of the Devil.
Oh, damn.
Okay?
That sounds dark.
Yeah, and it is dark because this movie was by the French filmmaker, and not only was he a filmmaker, but he was a magician. And if any of you guys have ever studied film or even horror or just photography, even any of that world, you will know this name, George Méliès. If I'm saying his name right, it's got an S at the end, so it's I always butcher people's names. But anyway, this movie was made in 1896.
Mm.
And some people would argue, well, they didn't have movies then. Yeah, they did. If you look at the movies and when the camera was made and in this type of movie, yes, as a matter of fact, 1896, and it was only 3 minutes. It was a silent movie. It was a short movie. And it was designed to be more whimsical, wondrous than terrifying. But if you think
wow.
if you think
Okay.
of the name House of the Devil,
Yeah.
I would be like, well, that's a terrifying name, especially
We're
in
gonna make you laugh. We're gonna make you cry. We're gonna
Right.
make you wish you had your soul.
in 1896. I mean, that was like, religion was really big back then, and all that kind of stuff. Where you mentioned the word devil, I mean, people go running.
Yeah.
And but it featured spooky theatrical elements because remember, this guy was a magician, so he knew tricky stuff, trickery, and
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
smoke and
So
mirrors.
use his skills for the film.
Yeah,
And kind of introduced to his skills and his love for cinema.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome, man.
So and so some of the content within that film is bats, ghosts, witches, and a cauldron. And they were depicting the transformation of a bat into Mephistopheles. Well, look at the name Mephistopheles and look at different names that they would call Satan and the devil and all that kind of stuff. So, and you could look, you guys could like Google this, and there is, they resurrected it years later. There is archives of this film, and but the way the guy did this, he's special effects. So special effects all the way back. But think about it.
Yeah.
A magician, they use special effects, sleight of hand, and all that kind of stuff
Right.
to do magic.
Trickery.
Yeah, trickery. So he used what he knew to utilize early camera tricks, stop motion, substitution, to create the illusion of magical transformations.
Cool.
So if you stop and then move and then do it in another position, then start it again, it makes you look like you're transforming into something.
Yeah, stop motion's pretty interesting for back in the day.
Oh yeah, and they still
I used to
do.
love that.
Yeah, they would do like when they came out with not just in horror but claymation
Yeah.
films.
Yeah.
And they would have I don't know the little shorts that they used to do, but they used to do like when they murdered Gumby and,
No, okay.
but it was stop motion claymation, and that's pretty. It's very time consuming
Oh yeah.
and very intense. So to make this
Yeah,
3
every
minute,
little scene, every little movement that the character
Yeah.
makes, they have to tweak it just a little.
Yeah.
Take a shot. Tweak it a little. Take a shot. Tweak a little. That would be so monotonous for me.
I couldn't do it.
I definitely couldn't do it. I saw
Yeah.
some guy doing it. I was like, oh fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for that.
No.
Serious patience to do that kind of work.
Absolutely, man.
But at the same time, I admired. I'm like, damn, that's dedication.
It is, and I wonder, and I will look that I should have looked it up, because now I want to know how long would it take, especially in 1896. Forget today's technology.
Right.
I would like to look at today's technology, and then in 1896, how long would it take them to make that 3-minute film?
Yeah.
Days, weeks, months? I don't know.
Maybe seconds.
No. 3-minute film to do the stop motion.
Oh. Yeah, probably not that long though.
But in today's, today's technology, we can do quite a bit.
We could probably do it really fast in today's technology, especially if it's like CGI and we make it look like it's claymation.
Yeah. AI.
That'd be one exception, because I think you can manipulate it instantly and have it do whatever you want once you get the algorithm or whatever in.
Yeah.
Boom, it's good to go. But
all right, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask you, the audience, I want you to think about this. How many, since the very 1920s, because you were correct in horror in 1920s.
Right on.
So we'll just say 1920. 1920 to 2026. Mm-hmm. How many, what they would call horror movies, do you think have been made?
Well, I guess that comes to the original question of what do you consider a horror movie?
Exactly.
Like, is it a slasher horror movie? Because there's different subcategories of horror.
And we're going to get into that. You're absolutely right. You're 100% right. So what society would consider horror?
Right, yeah. So what do I think?
Yeah, what do
society...
you personally? Yeah, would think.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's a good question. Well, objectively, I would guess anything that has to do with monsters or violence.
Okay, you're on the right track.
Scary, spooky things.
Yeah. Witches, goblins.
Right.
Yeah.
Things that bother people, I think people would consider horror.
Yeah.
In that genre.
Yeah.
But it could be even less. Like, I don't know. Some people's, what they think of horror might not even be horror. So that's my answer, but I can't.
Shoot out a number.
I don't know. Like, how many people?
No. How many horror movies have been made since 1920?
Oh, how many? Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Just since 1920?
Yeah, since the 1920s.
Oh, fuck.
From now to then, over 100 years.
More than I could count.
Well, I'll tell you the number. This isn't an exact number.
I may say over 30,000.
Well, it's over 27,000. You're pretty damn close. And it's been made, produced throughout film history. No. Now, with the genre seeing massive increases in production, especially once 1980 hit and, Halloween was there. I mean, I know there was horror movies before then in the 50s and 40s and all 20s, 30s, all the way through. But I personally think the massive hit and popularity in horror was the 80s. When 1980 happened, booyah.
Yeah, 80s was a big
You had the slasher, you had the tits and ass and
you
sex.
Sure did.
And all that.
Yeah.
That's when Friday the 13th franchise came into the mix.
All the goods.
So while only a few dozen of these films were released in the 1920s, fast forward 100 years, in the 2020s alone, you have already seen over 100. This is the 2020s, okay? Over 100 releases. Okay, 100, not that bad, okay? But in 2022, set a record for the most horror films produced worldwide with 1,531 horror films in just that year.
Wow.
And if you break that down, per day, that's like around the world 5 movies per day being made in that year. That's pretty freaking astounding. And so let's talk about some trends in horror film production since 1920. So in the early eras, you got the 1920s through the 1940s. So there was very limited output, often featuring fewer than 15 to 20 notable films per decade. So the most, one of the most famous films, it came out in 1922, and you already said it, Nosferatu, a vampire flick. And it was very spooky, and at the time it was very, what some people would call evil.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. But, so, like I said, very limited production back in the day. But
it wasn't very accepted back then.
No,
it was like,
no.
It's like you're doing the demon's work.
Right, the devil, Nosferatu.
You're an evil person.
And there were like protests, and there were people there were people murdered because they were involved in the horror genre because people felt like they were killing off evil, And if they didn't understand or like something, what's the best? I'll just kill them. Get rid of them.
That'll solve it, right?
Right. And but that's what I'm talking about, the horror that people not accept even today.
Yeah.
People aren't accepting it. That's why, again, while I'm doing this podcast, is because our series, there's a lot of people, actors that we've talked to personally that love horror that really don't accept what we're doing because that's a little too much, guys. You guys are touching on some subjects that we don't, well, then what's your definition of horror? And I'm about to get to that in about 2 minutes. But the medium growth, 1950s to the 1970s. So we saw a little bit more growth in production, and it grew steadily. So it was kind of a steady progression. And there was a significant jump in the 1970s. With I'll talk about the film a little bit later, but Tobe Hooper, he jumped into the scene in the 1970s, and there were 24 to 48 films in the 70s. So if you think 70s from 1970 to 1979, you got 12 months in a year, 12 times 9, if you will. I suck at math. I don't know how much that is, but that's not even maybe 2 films a year, 2 to 4 films a year, maybe. And then you've got the Big Bang freaking theory, the explosion of horror, 1980s to present. So the 1980s saw a massive spike to over 100 films, and this number has continued to grow and grow and grow, with over 300 in the 2010s. So when you think of 1980s horror, what do you think of? Right off the top of your head, what's the 2 franchises you think of? Everybody thinks of these.
I think of Freddy.
Yes.
And I think of Jason.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are my 2, and they're like the biggest icons in the world.
Yeah.
There's all a bunch of monsters, and there's they're all iconic, but the biggest 2 are always Freddy and Jason.
And you know what? It wasn't until recent, because I think once personally, I'm not saying this is factual.
Yeah.
It's my personal opinion, and maybe you will agree.
Yeah.
That once Jason came in the mix in 80, Michael Myers was kind of forgotten about a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because you have this new masked killer that's holy shit.
It's interesting you say that, because I did like Michael Myers, but when Freddy and Jason were in this thing, it was like they were the main focus for me.
Right.
And then when I started seeing Michael Myers, and then they reintroduced Michael Myers in the newer ones, I was like, I need to take a look back at these, and that's when Michael Myers became more relevant to me.
Right.
But Freddy and Jason were always the forerunners.
Yeah. And I was and I remember the first time I saw all those movies, Halloween and Friday the 13th. Again, I contribute all that to my buddy Lee Yonker that I went to high school with. And he got me into horror. And he's got this movie out that he did, I think in 93, if that's the correct year. It's Darkness. It's a vampire film. And he did it all himself. And I believe, if memory serves me correctly, he did it, and he financed it himself. I think it cost him like $5,000 from start to finish, packaging, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, if you guys haven't seen it, go check out Darkness. You could, Google it.
I still need to check that out.
It's a good flick, It's a good flick. And but even like when we're talking about Michael Myers, Freddy, and Jason, did you do this as a kid? Even before this movie came out, Freddy versus Jason, did you as a kid go, oh man, who do you think would win between a fight between Michael Myers and, and you know?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's kind of like which boxer will beat that guy, which wrestler. Well, we did it with horror.
Yeah.
You know, me and my friends, you and your friends, and hell, even you and I have talked about
I've done it with like superhero characters too, but yeah, I've done it with every character. I'm like, who would win in a fight?
Yeah.
If this guy was put against this guy, and these are his skills, and this guy's got these skills, who's gonna be the one that wins? It was always the thing, yeah.
And then you've got 3 different horror icons. You got Freddy, you got Michael, and you've got Jason. Now, Jason and Michael, they don't talk.
Right.
They're Michael is more methodic in his walking, and he's slower, and he just comes at you. Jason does the same thing, but he's more. He could step up his gait, meaning his walk. He could walk fast, walk slow.
If you talk shit about him, he's gonna make you feel it.
But Freddy, on the other hand, he's like the both sides of the coin. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's got some comedic lines, but he's also pretty freaking vile too.
He kills you while making fun of you.
You know. And so now, as I promised, it's been longer than 2 minutes, but here is the definition of what a horror movie is designed to do. So for those of you who do not like horror as much, pay attention. For those of you who say you like horror, pay attention. And especially those of you who have turned down a role in this series because it's too much of a horror or too sensitive, pay attention. Because, and I'm not doing that to mock you or to make fun of you. I'm being serious here. Because when it comes to horror, you really got to think about what is horror.
Right.
You know, horror is not just about stabbing somebody or bashing their head in or blood. You know, because in Psycho, they didn't show the lady getting stabbed.
No.
They showed blood going down the drain.
They just suggested it, and they showed images of
but people were still, after that, yeah, it was chocolate. It was chocolate. But people after that were afraid. There's still people. There's a song out there. I forget the artist, but Michael Jackson's background vocals. I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Yeah, I like that shit.
But there's a line in there. I'm afraid to wash my hair because I might turn around and find someone standing there. Oh. And he said, well, maybe because I watch Psycho too much. That's a line in that song. And there's still people. Even me as a horror lover, when I go into the bathroom, I lock the door. And when I'm taking a shower, sometimes I'll peek behind the shower curtain because I just don't know. Because it still messes with me. I know it's not reality, but, you know, my brain fucks with me. Okay, so here it is. A horror movie is a film designed to invoke fear, dread, disgust, and terror, aiming to provoke intense emotional and physical reactions from the audience. These films often center on dark themes, supernatural forces, monsters, or psychological and physical violence to create suspense and shock. For those of you that need to hear it again, hit the pause button, rewind it a little bit, and listen to it a half a dozen times. So when you do, and this is like for the actors and stuff, when you do apply for our film series, what is it called, Carl?
Serial killers.
Yeah, that name should probably tip off that it's not a Disney film. And the characters, some of them within that series, aren't going to be pretty little fluffy bunnies.
Yeah, we're not doing a Hallmark film here.
No, absolutely not. And some of the subject matter is going to be sensitive, and that is for a reason. And if you can't handle that subject matter, well, there's underlying issues for that, and I'm not putting anyone down for that or making fun of them. I'm just saying this film series is not for everybody.
That's right.
It's not. And I'm not mad at any actor that turned down the role 58 times. I'm not. Because, I mean, but one guy I did, and I've said this before in another podcast, he did a selfie and he's got all this, because I asked him, I said, do you like horror? I fucking love it. I've got masks all around me and all this stuff. He takes a picture. I sent him the scene. I haven't heard from him since. Oh, man. So when this is just the first film, mind you guys. it's going to elevate from here. And there's 8 films in this first season, and we're only going to step things up a little more,
If you guys like horror movies, man, you're going to love this one.
Yeah, and for those of you who have heard the first podcast that we did explaining why we are doing this film series, then they go, oh, okay, now I know what you mean. Okay, I'm on your side now. But, you know, you guys, it's like I told this one guy that kind of picked apart, you know, different aspects of the script. I'm like, dude, what you need to do is step back, because there's this painting. We discussed this before. If you stand closer, you can't see what it is, but you stand back 6 feet. It's a beautiful walk in the park with ladies having lunch. I told them, step back, instead of criticizing, trying to figure out what we're trying to say.
Right.
And what we're trying to do with this film. It's like, even the people that love horror, they're like, oh, that one scene between X and Y. Holy shit, is that intense? Well, it is intense, and it's supposed to be intense because it really freaking happened. That's part of the real life stuff I'm talking about. Yes, it's an intense scene, but one person lived that freaking scene, and it's still around.
Golly willikers, that's intense.
Exactly. So,
Oh, I don't know, Wally.
Exactly, Beef. You know, I mean, jeez. But you know what? We're not doing this for shock factor. We're doing this because it really happened. A lot of this stuff really happened. And we're trying to raise awareness for a couple of subject matters, but we're not going to get into that. Watch the film and find out. So, here are some key characteristics and elements in a horror, and the purpose of horror. Again, it's to thrill, to frighten. It's to shock the viewer. Often through an atmosphere of dread. So some of the common themes, especially in the 80s, well, from the 80s, some of the common themes are supernatural occurrences like ghosts, demons, monsters, slashers, psychological breakdowns, kind of like in The Shining, you know?
Yeah.
Or apocalyptic threats.
Yeah.
You know, you can have, you know, like alien movies. They could be considered sci-fi and horror.
I've seen it.
Some of the elements in a horror film often features dark lighting, suspenseful music, and at times gore. Well, I'm already going to tell you guys that there's no at times in this film series. There's definitely gore. And sometimes we come right out of the gate with it. We're not going to tell you when or where. Again, watch the films. And once you see the first film, you'll understand. I mean, it's one thing to hear me explain it. It's another thing to listen to the podcast. But it's a whole other thing once you watch the film and understand why we're doing it. I promise you, everyone that turned down that role, you're going to be like, oh my God, I should have done that role. I promise you.
And this series is going to just escalate to a boiling point.
Yeah.
It's gonna be phenomenal, guys. So you're gonna see something truly amazing and unique in this one.
Yeah, and we're not trying to be arrogant here. It's truthful.
No, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And if I thought that it was a bit amiss, I would be like, okay, guys. But no, I don't, and I'm not going to apologize for it at all.
And you shouldn't. It's your own creativity.
Exactly. Now, of course, there are subgenres in everything, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, anything. Well, horror movies is no different. And there's quite a few subgenres. I'm not going to go over every single one of them. I'll go over a few. So, you've got slasher movies like, you know, Friday the 13th and stuff. You've got paranormal films like Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch Project, and all that kind of stuff. You've got psychological horror like Psycho, The Shining. You've got body horror. You got creature features like back in the 50s. They had the Wolfman. They had Dracula, Frankenstein, all that.
Yeah.
So creature features, the Mummy, and those were all cool, scary. But you've got, you know, creatures like in the 80s. You got Pumpkinhead.
Oh yeah.
You know, you've got even that movie, the kind of campy Critters.
Yeah, Critters is a good one. I love
Gremlins.
It. Oh,
you know,
fucking Gremlins though.
Yeah, that's another creature, if you will.
Yeah.
And then horror frequently overlaps with other genres, like what we just talked about.
I guess that would be considered a comedy horror then, right? Gremlins.
I would say
they're monsters.
I would say there's several moments of comedy in there.
But yeah, it's mainly like a comedy.
Yeah. There are, for sure.
Technically, I guess it would be a horror because there's monsters in it, right?
Yeah.
Am I right in that?
Yeah, absolutely. And they kill people, so they rip them apart for sure. And then the film that I did with Sean Taylor, God rest his soul, it was a dark comedy. It's called The Stand-Up. And it's, it's a short film. We did it for a film festival, but it was a horror comedy. Yeah. And it was actually, you got to see it. I won't tell you about it. Anyway, go see it. It's on YouTube. And but then there's subgenres, like I said, science fiction, there's thrillers, though it distinguishes itself by often focusing on irrational fears and the unknown. Okay? So, and then within subgenres, and then the fancy word of today, hybrid. You got hybrid cars, you got hybrid this, hybrid food, hybrid drinks. Well, again, movies are no different, especially horror. You have hybrid styles that have emerged constantly, but experts typically categorize them into a few major pillars with dozens, not just a few, but with dozens of niche variations. So, some more key and growing horror subgenres exclude supernatural and paranormal, and that focuses on ghosts, demons, the occult, possessions, stuff like The Exorcist, The Conjuring. What's that one with Russell Crowe where he was a priest that just came out a couple years ago?
Oh, yeah. It's not called Priest, but
no, it's like...
I don't recall
it's okay. Bad. I'll think of it here in a minute. But stuff like that.
But I know what you're talking about.
And then you have psychological. It centers around mental states, phobias, kind of like arachnophobia.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I freaking hate spiders. And when I went to see that movie, I thought spiders were in the car because I saw it at the drive-in.
That was so... Oh, that fucked me over with spiders, man.
Dude, I can't deal with them, man.
You think of spiders differently after that film.
Yeah, and it's a phobia of mine. And then sanity, like The Shining, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter.
I think it's fair to say that arachnophobia gave you arachnophobia after you're done watching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You didn't have it before, you do now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And my favorite, and probably your favorite too, slasher/splatter films.
Oh, yes.
So it features a killer systematically murdering victims like Halloween, Friday the 13th.
Absolutely.
And again, oh my goodness. I mean, it was, if you guys go back, see, I'm a film, not just horror, but a film history buff. I'm the kind of person that likes to know the who, what, when, where, how, and why. I like to know the behind-the-scenes stuff. Yeah. I like to know the whys. I like to know hows. When I was in film school, we got to work with a lot of these people, and I would ask 1,000 questions because they said, "You're here, might as well ask questions," and I did. I asked 1,000 questions. I wanted
to run for their money.
I wanted to know the
want me
why.
To ask you questions, huh?
Yeah, you can't handle the questions.
Just let me get the list.
And that's how, because I wanted to know when I saw a scene on a film. I'm like, well, how do they do that?
Right.
And then they would explain, and I'm like, oh, okay. But see, nowadays, personally, I'll watch it, but I don't like films, especially horror films, made with CGI or green screen. Now, I understand that they need to for certain reasons, but when you go back to the 80s, early 80s, like with Friday the 13th, there was no green screen.
Right.
It was all practical effects. Yeah. I love practical effects. Now, when you do movies and you like a sword fight, two ninjas, and one slices the other and blood goes up, you can tell whether it's CGI or not.
Right.
I'm not downing that. I'm just saying I appreciate and love more practical effects.
Okay.
So when I talk about slasher and splatter features like Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street type films, Like even films like Carrie, where they dump that blood.
Right.
Did you know that was actual 100% real pig blood?
Yeah.
They picked it up at some slaughterhouse.
It's crazy.
Do you know how unsafe and unsanitary that is?
It's just disgusting.
And people like on the set of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because they use real blood, they said it stunk to high heaven, dude. Some of the actors were throwing up in between takes because they couldn't.
Could you imagine how you would feel? Like, okay, we're gonna pour pig's blood on you now. You ready?
Oh my god! And that was, dude. I don't know how much it was, but it was a lot.
It's gross. Dude.
Yeah.
A bucket of blood from a pig. No, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks, brother.
That's disgusting.
And then there's body horror. It deals with the grotesque destruction or mutation of the human body. Now, if you think of, I'm not talking about like cutting off an arm or sawing off her leg. Now, I'm going to give you two examples. And one deals with one aspect and one actually does deal with dismemberment and whatnot. Think the Jeff Goldblum. Now, the original film was done with Vincent Price back in the day.
Okay.
And then Jeff Goldblum was the star in this one, and it's called The Fly.
That's a great one.
You know, and that is the mutation. He mutated.
Yeah.
He did an experiment. He mutated from him to a fly, and then, of course, you know what happens.
He transferred to a pod, and he got some of his DNA mixed with the fly, and
he
started to slowly transform into the fly.
Yeah, and there's actually some cool... One of the favorite scenes that I like, it wasn't a destructive scene. He was talking to his girlfriend or former girlfriend, and he was already like halfway, 3/4 into the fly, and then he was eating something and he threw up on it, and then he ate it, and he's like, I'm sorry. You know, and I was like, I thought that was funny, and I liked it because that's what flies do. I guess.
Yeah.
They vomit on their food to do whatever, and then it's acidic, and then that's how they eat it. But anyway, that's my favorite scene. And then you go to the other part, Hellraiser.
Yeah.
You know, that's another mutation of a person, and then he opens the box and he mutates into Pinhead.
That's some serious gore right there.
And yeah, then you get the chains and going into people's faces and neck, and yeah, that is, you know, to some people grotesque.
Right.
Even when I saw it for the first time, I didn't think it was grotesque.
I think if you've seen enough of that kind of stuff, you become desensitized a little bit, and it doesn't bother you as much. But when you're first introduced to it, maybe you haven't had that much exposure to it, you might be a little more sensitive.
Right.
Or if you just had some experiences where it bothers you in general, you might be more sensitive to it.
Right.
But for me, I'm kind of desensitized by it. The only difference is, like, if I see something called torture porn.
Right.
Where it's like someone's being tortured.
Kind of like Hostel.
Yeah, Hostel. I didn't like Hostel because he's torturing these person.
Don't let Eli Roth know that, dude. No.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
No, I just didn't like the aspect of watching someone being tortured, and that sounds strange because I love horror.
Right.
But when I see someone that's like being tortured and they show them ripping them open and they're screaming bloody,
like cutting their eyeball
doing
out,
all kinds of crazy shit, I'm like, oh, I can't. You know, but then you see someone's head getting exploded or chopped in half with a chainsaw. I'm like, sweet. So I don't know what that is.
Right.
But it's just the fact that they're being tortured that I don't like.
That's okay.
It's almost like glorifying it.
I know. I always bring this up, and you're going to hate me for this, but it's kind of like sex. You know? A lot of people like sex, but there's some things in sex that, I just don't want to do that.
Right.
I like it. I just don't want to do that. You know? And but it's kind of like movie. But see, I'm one of those.
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. Absolutely. And I appreciate, you know, again, all you actors out there, I appreciate every one of you. I love every one of you. And like I said, this movie series isn't for everybody.
No.
And
only us sick, twisted folks.
Yeah. and some people think there are some psychologists out there that be like, if you enjoy horror and they can go right to bed, there's something wrong with you. But I'm going to get into the psychological reasons here in just a few minutes. And then there is the monster creature feature. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to expand it a little bit. So it involves monsters, obviously. Zombies is another one. Or aliens, like Godzilla or the movie Alien with Sigourney Weaver. There's more than one, but I mean, that was the first alien movie I ever saw, was Aliens. Mm-hmm. My friend Leaf actually had a T-shirt, and it had that alien popping out of the stomach. It stuck out like 6 inches. Wow. And it had blood all. It was the coolest freaking T-shirt. But he got in trouble at school, at CASA, and it was like Halloween, and he wore it, and they made him take it off. because they said it was too disturbing.
Right.
Other students, and I was like, whatever, dude. And
yeah, some people are just too sensitive. That's the bottom line.
the very first zombie movie. Well, okay, what's the very first zombie movie you ever saw?
Oh my god, the most graphic, violent fucking zombie movie. I don't even know who made it, but the guy was. They ripped someone apart and showed organs flailing all over the floor. There was bone, there was sinew, there was all kinds of shit. They showed everything you could think of that was in a human just spill out on the ground, and they were just eating them. And I was like, oh my.
What movie was it?
I loved it, and I was also scarred at the same time. That might be why. But I don't. It's probably like a Night of the Living Dead kind of.
Okay, that's actually a cool one.
I don't think it was. Well, it might have been the Night of the Living Dead franchise. I can't remember specifically. I saw it not super long ago, but damn it, I can't remember. It might have been Return of the Living Dead. It's one of the Living Deads, I think.
Okay.
And it is graphic as fuck. I've never seen something like that. I was younger,
mind
you. So when I first saw that, I was like, Jesus.
Right.
That is some graphic shit. And at the same time, I was like, cool.
Right.
So yeah, maybe there is something wrong with me. But...
Well, and I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep throwing my friend's name out there, Leaf Yonker. Mm-hmm. He got me into the horror aspect of things. The very first zombie movie I ever saw, it was at his house, and I think Bert and Pat were there. It was Dawn of the Dead, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
A good one.
And my favorite, I would say. My favorite scene in that is when the zombie was coming up. They just landed in the helicopter, and he comes and he's walking over the crate, and the helicopter blade slices the top of his head off.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's how I got introduced to Tom Savini, and then I started studying him and his effects and whatnot.
I have a documentary on Tom Savini and his school that he did for makeup and like his
I would love to see that. I haven't seen that.
It's fucking dope, dude. Ever since I found out about him and him being a makeup artist, I was always interested on how realistic everything looked. And, you know, he's doing all these different monster projects. And I'm just like, this guy's fucking incredible. I need to see what he is talking about in his documentaries. Maybe I can learn something. Because I was kind of interested myself in learning some makeup techniques. Right. Whether or not I went serious or not, I just wanted to know for the fact of knowing.
Right.
And let me tell you, there's some cool shit on his documentary that you will learn about his school and his prosthetics and his process and how he got introduced in the whole world of horror.
Yeah.
Like he was in the war and he saw some gruesome shit. And fucking what he learned from being out in the field, he used when he was on set, and he created these very real-like, tortured-looking, you know, all the details of a human being, the organs and everything. He learned how to make those things very real from his experience out there.
That's cool, dude.
And there's so much more than that, too, of, like, what, you know, all the people he's worked with and, like, how he got started and where he was recognized and blah, blah, blah. It's fucking awesome, man.
And he's also
an actor.
An actor as well. He acted in Dawn of the Dead. He was in that. I won't tell you the scene just in case someone ironically hasn't seen the film.
And what's the most iconic one he acted in? I know you're going to know it.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Boom!
Yeah.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. He had that gun on his crotch.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then there's an interesting subgenre. And it was put on... I believe that this movie started the whole thing. Which one do you think that is?
It started the whole thing?
Found footage, yeah.
Fuck.
So
I don't know.
So it is presented as discovered or raw video recordings.
Wait.
Yeah.
First found footage of movies that are doing we just found this footage.
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly. It's Blair Witch.
Yes, Blair Witch. I believe it came out in 1994. I saw it in the movie theaters, and I was kind of taken back because I thought it was real.
Yeah.
And the actors finally came out to say it was real because, you know, a lot of people thought it was real, so a lot of people thought, hey man, what's going
I
on?
kind of felt it was real. The way
Yeah.
they filmed it, God.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is this happening?
Right. So it kind of made me sick a little bit because the camera was shaking.
I don't like that.
I didn't like that part, but other than
That's
that,
not for me.
I liked everything about it. I liked the promotions. And then kind of one of my favorites, because I lived this lifestyle for a very long time, and I still kind of do, is Gothic. So Gothic, it focuses on atmosphere, old houses, dread, a lot of Gothic genre type films. Dracula. So
vampire movies.
the first
Lost Boys, man.
that was the first vampire movie that I ever saw that I could remember anyway.
Fantastic.
Was no, scratch that.
Okay.
The first vampire movie I saw was Fright Night.
Fright Night.
Fright
there
Night.
you go. There's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that
the 80s version,
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
one with Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Not that was a bad one, but I like the original shit.
No, the original's good too.
And
I like them both.
Fright Night was my first.
I actually have both films.
Yeah.
I like both of them separately for.
And
different
they
reasons.
kind of they do different things, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's folk horror, and people are like, "What the hell is folk horror?" Well, it explores isolation and pagan rituals. Now, Midsummer, or if you get like Children of the Corn, or stuff like that, that is considered. And then there's comedy horror.
It's kind of a creepy one. Children being fucking demonic like and wanting to kill you.
Yeah.
That's something about that.
I
creepy.
still will not walk in a cornfield.
Yeah.
I'm like, no
Those
way.
kids were fucking creepy, man.
And then there's comedy horror. So if you think of comedy, it blends scares and humor. What would you consider a comedy horror?
Well, I mean, the first thing comes off the bat is Freddy.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's a comedy. He's making jokes.
Yeah, he's funny.
Anything that has to do with comedy and horror combined.
Yeah.
I would consider comedy horror. That sounds kind of like redundant, but
right. Kind of a no-brainer kind of thing.
Yeah. So.
Well, I have an example. Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, there you go.
So
There you go.
there's a lot of I don't want to say slapstick comedy.
I
more.
would say that's more comedy and then horror, wouldn't you? Like.
Oh yeah.
Like maybe 80% comedy and then 20% horror.
Yeah, and there's a lot of I would consider it like English horror, like English horror, not horror. I mean comedy, because they have their own little personalities when it comes to comedy. So I liked it. Yeah, dry humor.
Yeah. I really liked it. I love that movie.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And then there's analog or digital horror, which is a modern subgenre using retro media or internet aesthetics. So, and then some of the psychological reasons why people enjoy horror. And this is where you guys that are listening that have different levels of horror, because I've talked to people that are like, oh yeah, man, I don't like slasher movies, but I like more like
Goosebumps.
that.
I'm always gonna come back to that one.
That kind of stuff. So, some of the reasons why people like horror is because it's safe thrills and controlled fear. So viewers enjoy the adrenaline rush. It's kind of similar to riding a roller coaster, but you are in a safe, controlled environment. So like if you're in your living room, you're not in any actual danger.
Yeah.
Then there's catharsis and coping. Watching a horror can help manage anxiety by allowing people to experience and overcome fear, often ending with a sense of triumph when the threat is defeated.
Interesting.
So like if someone watches, say, Halloween, and maybe they think he's dead, they go, oh yeah, they got the killer. So it kind of releases.
Classic kind of films where they just kill it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a lot of horror fans and lovers have they have high empathy. So contrary to what some people believe, that people that love horror are just freaking psychos. Horror fans, some of them, a lot of them, are desensitized, kind of like what you just said.
Yeah.
Studies show that they often feel highly empathetic. They enjoy the intense emotions generated by a vulnerable character facing danger. And then there's the curiosity aspect, the exploration aspect.
Yeah.
Horror allows for exploring the darker side of human psychology, like death, mortality, in a way
It's intriguing.
that is not possible in real life.
Right.
It's kind of like...
You're like shining a light down a fucking well. You have no idea what's down there, but you're kind of curious to find out what's at the bottom.
Right. Well, I mean, I'll be transparent here. I talked to a psychiatrist, and I talked to her this morning. And a lot of times, like in the offboarding of the conversation, so like, have you thought about hurting yourself? Mm-hmm. And then I'll answer, have you thought about hurting other people? And then I'm like, yes, I do, like every day. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but she knows I'm a filmmaker, and she goes, well, explain. I'm like, well, I create a scene in my head, and I write it down, and I murder them very violently, and it makes me feel better. I can't do it in real life, or else I'll end up in prison, but I could write about it. I can make a film about it. People might think I'm crazy and disgusting, but hey, it makes me feel better.
But here's the thing. I think a lot of people in general, regardless of who you are, you all make up a scenario in your head.
Yeah.
Whether it's your boss, it's someone you dislike really strongly, you're going to picture them being murdered in some heinous way, hit by a car, ripped apart, stabbed, shot, sliced in half, cut, head decapitated, whatever the scenario.
Right.
You're going to imagine that in your mind. You can't help it. And it's totally fine because it's all in your head. It's
right.
Just, it's like you're trying to vent through your own mental creativity, if you will. And I think that's normal. I think we all need to vent.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like we need to let out our anger and scream, motherfucker, this piece of you know what I mean, and just get it all out. It's kind of the same way, except you're inventing a story in your head, which you're alleviating some anger through some visual film type scenario in your mind.
Right.
It's just like when you watch a movie and you see your hero win, you're like, yeah! It's kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do that a lot, but you know what? At least I don't do it in real life.
Exactly. The only difference is you don't act on it.
Right. And watching horror can be social bonding.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not think that, but seriously, watching scary movies together can foster bonding through the release of oxytocin, increasing feelings of closeness with others.
The other thing, too, is this is totally different, but it's the same kind of concept. If you're fantasizing about another woman and you're married or you're with somebody.
Right.
You're pleasing yourself or whatever,
Right.
You're just fantasizing. Until you actually do that, it's not cheating. You're just living out a fantasy. It's all just for fun.
Right.
It really is what it is.
Right. So when people kept pissing and moaning about how gruesome some of our scenes were, and again, I keep telling them, oh, that's nothing compared to what's coming. And so I thought, what does society think is gruesome? And I figured, what are some of the most gruesome horror movies ever made? And I've got my list.
Hellraiser is one of the tops.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Jason, Friday the 13th falls in there.
Right.
Of course. But there's so many different gruesome films. I could think of one that's like extremely gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's more modern. That has Jason's character in it, but he's a different person. He's Victor Crowley.
Okay.
And he just rips
Hatchet.
Hatchet.
You know who plays Hatchet?
Yeah, it's Jason.
Yeah,
it's the guy that plays Jason.
Kane Hodder.
Kane Hodder, man, the king of horror, and next to Robert Englund, he's the most iconic character out there, and he plays this just brutal, fucking hillbilly type monster, I would say. And he just goes to town. He just rips people apart. He cuts them in half. He lops their bodies. They show all the graphic shit when the blood spills everywhere.
Yet people are complaining about ours. Yeah.
It is nothing compared to what we got going so far. That's like super brutal.
Yeah. And
it's freaking awesome.
And I've got some, some brutal mentally kind of, like if you think of Human Centipede.
Oh Jesus, I can't.
Okay, see,
that makes me want to throw up just because of what they do and the concept.
I enjoyed that movie because I was like, you know what?
It's creative, but that's as far as I go with that.
That's I guess that's where I'm sick.
Yeah.
all my past trauma has made me into like, yeah. Anyway, here's what society thinks. And I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because I don't think some of these movies are that gruesome. But according to my research, the top 5, top 4 actually, gruesome horror movies was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974.
Okay.
And it's known for its intense, gritty, and implied violence that shocked audiences. So some of it wasn't like in your face, it was just implied, kind of like in Psycho. It was implied.
Psychological.
But I guess then people were like freaked out about it.
And maybe just the concept was so overwhelming with the theme and the music that they immediately put themselves in a very graphic situation.
Right. Then there's Saw, 2004. So that's what you're talking about, torture porn.
Yeah.
So it was popularized, torture porn, another subgenre with the elaborate gory traps.
But here's the thing. I liked Saw, and that's because of the puzzles and the story.
Yeah.
The torture part I didn't really care for. I was like, oh, fuck, this is... Here we go.
Right.
But, I'm a weird cat. Like, once I see, like, cool dismembering and shit like that, as long as it's not, like, throwing up or shitting or something like that, I'll be like, whoa, that's gnarly, And I like it. But if you start torturing somebody and that's all it's about torturing, they're crying, they're whining, and it just seems like it's very realistic and mean, I can't get into it.
Right. And then there's Apostle, which is 2018, and it features disturbing and graphic scenes of violence.
Yeah.
And there's different horror movies, obviously, but there's some that show, the knife going into the skin. And I mean, I'm not going to... I'll just say the Scream movies. I'm not going to talk about Scream 7. I'll talk about the prior ones. I mean, in the first one, they gutted Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
You know? And her intestines were hanging out, and they were showing the knife stabbing. So that's could be, certain people,
America's sweetheart.
Yeah. And then the last one is The Exorcist, 1973. It's highly disturbing because of the reality of things.
Yeah.
The demon possession and the Ouija board and the exorcism itself. I mean, I've talked to priests about the ritual of exorcism. I've talked to them about, what goes on and this and that. And I personally, at least off the top of my head, 3 times in life, I saw someone demon possessed.
Oh, that's fine.
One time when I was using the Ouija board, the very first time I was young and it was in church, and someone was possessed. It was the weirdest shit. That's the first time I saw it. So those are the ones that are considered the most gruesome. And I know for a fact, in my mind, your mind, and everybody else's mind, that there's more gruesome ones out there.
Oh, yeah.
But these are more reality gruesome.
This is more like torturing your mind and your soul kind of thing, almost.
Now, if you could think
getting under your skin,
right? If you could think of the top 5 most popular or famous horror movies, what do you think it would be? I was shocked.
Out of everything.
Out of everything, dude.
Fuck, dude, that's a huge category.
It is. It's very huge.
And like, it depends on the subgenre.
The most famous.
Because even horror, which I consider action horror and everything. Like, I mean, Blade is considered horror, and I fucking love the Blade movies.
Famous. Like if you went to China, if you went to China right now and you said, this isn't horror, but if you went to China right now and you said, what are the 2 most famous words in the world? Is Elvis and Coke. That's famous.
What?
Yeah. If you go to Australia, you'll be like, have you heard of Elvis? Oh, yeah. You go to China. Oh, yeah. He was worldwide known. Still is. Been dead since 1977. But the famous movies that you would think of, what pops into your head? Famous. If you went to talk to
anywhere in the world,
anyone that knew horror and liked horror, what would you mention? Oh, hey, this is the famous one.
Maybe Christine.
Christine, okay.
I would say it'd have to be around for a while to get that kind of recognition.
Okay.
Cujo.
Okay.
Do you want more, or is that good?
No, that's cool.
Okay.
My immediate thought was Halloween, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, and...
I mean, those were my first... I'm always going...
No. That was mine.
Okay.
Well, when I did my research, and I came up with the top 5, the key word here, famous movies, I was kind of shocked.
Right.
The number 1 is The Exorcist, 1973.
That makes sense.
Number 2 is The Shining, 1980.
Okay.
Number 4, which was on my list, Halloween, 1978.
Okay.
That's number 3. Number 4 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974.
Okay.
And then number 5 is Psycho, 1960. So those are the
70s movies or before.
Yeah, those are the famous. Now, me being the question guy, and I've said this in many podcasts and stuff. If you want to, one of the cheapest movies to make at all in life itself, people might, I ask a lot of people, if you had money and I give you, and you had a film that you want to make, what kind of film it would be, but I want you to think on a budget. And but in all honesty, the absolute most cheapest film to make is a horror movie. So then I'm thinking to myself, what is the cheapest horror movie ever made? The cheapest.
Well, I think of Blair Witch as one of the cheapest.
I would think so too, but it's not. The cheapest horror movie ever made was Paranormal Activity in 2007. It was produced for $15,000.
Okay.
And it grossed over $193 million worldwide. That is a good return on investment.
Yeah, it is.
It utilized, we talked about it earlier, found footage. It was filmed in one house. It took 7 days to film. And it delivered an ROI, which is a return on investment, of over 1,200,000%. So again, it was filmed in 2007. The director, Oren Pellis, it was his house that he filmed it in. It was in a suburb of San Diego, which is called Rancho Panisquitos. I butchered those names. I'm sorry. So like I said, it was outside San Diego. And the entire movie, again, shot in 7 days. It came out in 2007, but it was filmed in 2006. So in the house, if you ever want to go see it, it is on Bavarian Drive. It is still there. You can go see it. I've been there. And because I'm a kind of person that likes to go to, if I know, a horror movie has been filmed somewhere, I'd like to go see where it was if I could.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to, the coast here in California, you can go to the lighthouse where The Fog was made with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a lot of, places around here. But anyway, folks, you get a taste now of, what is horror. And I'm sure that we could continue on for another hour and talk about what is horror and this and that. We can have certain discussion, but this is a brief introduction so if you love horror, then it's kind of like Carl. He goes, yeah, I love horror, but I draw the line at this.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, guys and gals. But me, on the other hand...
Centipede and Hostel.
I like all horror. And I'm not saying I'm better than you or better than Carl, better than anybody else. I'm just maybe one of those sick, twisted fucks that just like weird shit. And because I've... where I got desensitized? Military.
Yeah.
By the time I was 19 years old, I saw some shit. And as a young kid, growing up in a fucked up household to begin with, and then go out into the real world, out of the town, out of the United States, into other countries, third world countries, and see some stuff that goes on, you see it enough times, you get desensitized.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, that's no big deal. So when I see Human Centipede, I think to myself, well, that could actually happen. Meaning, there could be, okay, I'll just scratch that. I'll go to Hostel. Hostel could 100% happen. Because I've stayed in a hostel. And number one, there are countries out there that do not like Americans.
Yeah.
And France is one of them. And if you go to a hostel and you start jacking around and you're not paying attention, there are people out there, and especially in this day and age, that will roofie you, drug you, take you somewhere, and sell you to somebody or make something like hostel happen. Someone pays $200,000 to come and torture you. I believe that can happen, and it does happen.
Jeez.
You know, because those are the kind of movies to where I'm like, wow, dude. I mean, Eli Roth was onto something there. But it is technical. I mean, they show the drill going in the guy's legs, the eyeball coming out, snipping it, and it's pretty. Like they show the stabbings, and you know, and it is pretty. There's some films out there that I've seen that I've wondered, is that a snuff film?
Yeah.
You know, is that? And I'm not saying it is or isn't. It was just so real. I was like, dude.
Especially that eyeball scene.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because I used to watch. Remember back in the '80s, they had this film series called Faces of Death.
Yeah.
And it was like real life happenings that they would show. You know, people dying from certain things, or you know, whatever, murdered. And I've even pulled up stuff on the dark web, and I've seen people getting their heads cut off, like right there. And I'm just like, damn, you know. And I'm like, I'm kind of desensitized. I feel bad for the person, but I'm like,
right,
you know. But it's like, and I even asked my psychiatrist, like, dude, is there something wrong with me that I like enjoy this stuff? And she goes, no, that is your way of coping with your own trauma, and it is a release. And then she explained, like I talked earlier about endorphins and the sense of release and all that kind of stuff. So she broke it down for me psychologically, because she's the professional. And but she's like, yeah. And I asked her, and I told her about I didn't tell her too much about the series, but I told her that it's pretty graphic and whatnot. She goes, if that's your way of coping and dealing with things to release it, then go do it. Don't stop.
Huh.
You know, and I appreciated her saying that.
Interesting.
So yeah.
I wonder if I may fall into that category, even though I haven't been in the military, I haven't seen any crazy shit like that, but I've been through some shit.
Right.
Mainly in bullying and stuff, where maybe it is an outlet for me to get back at the bully in a way.
Yeah.
Because the monsters typically go after bullies, what people don't even think about, and they get their revenge.
Right.
So maybe that is part of it, and then the other part is that I love movies. So
yeah,
I think the combination of the two maybe. And I love monsters. I grew up loving monsters. My
yeah.
dad was a monster lover, so naturally I'm going to be one. And boom, there you go. Now I'm a horror fan.
Yeah. And I grew up, I didn't get to go to movies growing up. I had to sneak, like I snuck over to my friend Leaf's house at 14, 15 years old, because my parents said movies were evil. I'm going to hell if I watch them.
Oh, yeah.
Dancing is evil. Music is evil.
How is dancing evil?
I don't know, dude.
That doesn't make any sense. Everyone dances.
And but once I got out in the world and I got a taste of things, I couldn't get enough. It's like I'm the kind of person that there was one year, I think it was 2012.
Yeah.
No, it's 2013. I saw every single movie that came out, whether it was a B movie, an independent film, or a theatrical release of whatever. I went to the movie theater right down the street here.
Nice.
Almost every day, and I saw everything. I saw the foreign films. I would drive to like San Jose to certain theaters that were only showing, and I saw a shit ton of movies that year. Because I like watching movies, because I like learning how people do things. I just like different types of movies. I like seeing other people's artistic visions.
Yeah.
But I always come back home to horror.
And what about how the actors' performances? Do you study their performance like I do? Like usually when I watch a film, I study how they're acting and why they're acting a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me. It's not just entertainment; it's reference.
Yeah.
It's like because I'm an actor and I want to be an actor and all that. I'm watching for like, oh, this is probably how I should portray this scene, or maybe I should take a note from this actor because the way he responded to this particular incident. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
And
like
I'm studying him and learning from him just by watching the movie.
yeah, and it's an inflection in their voice. Maybe they're talking, they
Yeah.
bring it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a hand movement. Absolutely, I do. I
Yeah.
study because see, when I watch a film,
Sometimes it's super subtle.
well, I was watching someone's. I kind of sometimes films ruin for me because I watch it and I pick it apart.
Oh, okay.
Like I was watching a film that an actress sent me, part of her reel the other day. I'm like, you know what? I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but in that film, the whoever directed that and filmed it, it's 100% obvious that there's nothing in the beer bottle that your fellow actor and the way that you're moving the cup around and this and that. There's nothing in your cup.
Right.
And that is just an observation of mine. It just kind of ruins that moment for me.
Right.
I'd rather have something in the cup and she moves it and it sloshes out.
Right.
I can tell like if someone takes a drink, if it's real
Yeah.
or not. So sometimes I do nitpick and
glug.
I try not to. But as a filmmaker myself, I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Or like if I see something, I'm like,
I'll
oh.
do that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not doing that fake crap.
Yeah. But or I'll see something I like, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
But anyway, again, we can go on and on. But I appreciate you guys, and Carl appreciates too, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Everyone listening to our podcast. And, more and more
Yes, thank you guys.
have been listening to the podcast because I go on the analytics. and it shows, hey, 50 new views today. And it'll show me exactly where in the world you guys have watched it. His little red dots all over the world.
Yeah.
Where you guys are listening to it. It tells me what state, what city, what town, what country. It'll tell me whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It'll tell me just everything. And it amazes me that where some of you guys are listening to it from, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But this is one of our special episodes, and again, we appreciate everybody. And for those of you who haven't yet followed the page, go to Serial Killers Movie on Facebook. Follow us because we update stuff every day and tell you guys what's going on every step of the way.
Yeah.
And again, if you have any subject matters that you want us to cover, as far as films and stuff go, we have another podcast called A Rising Star. And that's where we talk about the entertainment industry, acting, screenwriting, and everything in that world. And we give you kind of the blueprint of how to do stuff from our own experience. So go check out that podcast too. But until next time, we'll see you guys later. Peace out.
See you guys.